Hello everyone. Welcome to the second section of Pandas tutorial where we are going to discuss about data frame. Data frame is a two-dimensional array, like how 1D array and multi-dimensional array is there in NumPy like that. In Pandas, a 1D array is known as series, which we have discussed in section 1, and the data frame is the two-dimensional data array, which has rows and columns like a normal database. Data frame actually can have higher dimensional data, which can be linked as a tabular format, but which requires hierarchical indexing, which we will discuss in the advanced Panda. If we cover the advanced Panda, then we can discuss that. But right now, we are just going to cover the basic data frame concepts, but we are going to deal with the two-dimensional data array. Okay. So one main thing about the data frame is you can have multiple columns and rows, but each column have to have homogeneous data. Means that there will be multiple columns, but the value, the data in the particular column should have the same values, and different column can represent different variables. Okay, so the data frame as a whole can be the heterogeneous data, but each column should have the consistency in terms of data type. Okay. Other than that, it is same like the normal two-dimensional array. Let's see what are the things that you can do. What are the functionalities that we can do with the data frame? So most of the functionality that we have discussed, most of the attributes and most of the methods we have discussed in section 1 will be repeated in data frame as well. I will see those things in detail. First, let's create a data frame using the dictionary. Okay. Multi-dimensional dictionary. So I have just created a heterogeneous dictionary with the sum as index, state. Okay, it has the population, year, everything. So just like a regular dictionary. And what we are going to do, we are going to create data frame from this. Okay, for example, I'm just going to create a variable called frame and pd dot and tab. Okay, the uppercase. I think I like series is the uppercase, like that data frame should be the uppercase. Maybe I will use tab to see. Yeah, here you can see the method data frame. And I'm going to pass this data that I have just created, the dictionary data that we have just created. Okay, so then let's look at the data. So it is a dictionary, but as a data frame, you can see it doesn't, if you look at the series, you can see series will be text and the value with the objects, right, with the data type, because it should be homogeneous in the series. But data frame is the heterogeneous thing. So you can see each column represent different. This is float, this is integer, this is string, this is index with integer value. So it can be heterogeneous. Okay, so you have to use this method data frame to create a data frame. And you can use most of the methods, attributes that we have, methods and attributes we have practiced with series. For example, let's see the head function that we have used. If you recall, the head function will first deliver the first 5 values. Okay, already 6 values are there in the table, so we just retrieve 5. So if I pass 3, then it will just retrieve the first 3 values of the table. Okay. So what are the other stuff that we can do? We can change the column order. Here, state, year, and pop, right? So we can change the column order by using the column attribute. Okay, pd dot data frame, passing the data that we have just created, where we're going to use the column attribute. Columns is the attribute name, equal to, we're going to change the order. Okay, so year, state, population. Okay, here state population. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we are going to create a new column. Okay, when we are going to change it, first let's create a new column, okay, and see what is happening. So I'm just going to create a new data frame and name it as frame2 as a variable name, and then calling the data frame method and passing this variable data. And then I'm just going to create a new column and see what's happening. So with this order year state population, with this same order, I'm going to create a new column, and I'm just going to name it as depth. And let's see what is the output. You can see it has created a new column with null values, not a number. We have already seen it is null. Okay, and let's change the index values. Okay, let's change the index values to the same frame2 dot index. So let's change this index value, like how we have changed the index values in the series. Let's try to change the index values by using the index attributes. So I'm just passing this object frame2 dot index, the attribute name, and as I'm assigning new index values already, there are integer index values. I'm changing it to the string index and see how it reacts. So you can see the integer indexes that got changed to the string indexes like this. Okay, so that is what the index attribute would do. Let's see the columns attribute. We have seen how we can use the columns attribute, change the column order, or create a new column order, new columns. If you just pass this columns attribute, you can see it will just give the column label names. Okay, like how index will give the not index will give the index new like us will help you to. Okay, maybe first frame2 dot index. You can see frame2 dot index will give you the row index values. Similarly, the columns attribute will help you to get the column index values, the column title values. Also, you can just pick the particular column. You can just retrieve the values from the particular column by passing this columns attribute. You can simply say the object name, the variable name, and just pass the index value state, and it will just retrieve all the rows in the state column. And then here, so the year that is also with the index, it will give the column value year. Okay. So we are going to see about the location attribute later in detail, but let's see one example with that LOC attribute, location attribute. Okay. So where I'm going to pass the row value, row index value 3. So you can see the row index 3. If you look at the column, row index 3 has 2022 OHIO 3.6. Okay, so the location attribute will help us to pick a particular record, particular row from the table. Okay, so let's do one more with the another attribute. So here we know that depth attribute has not a null value. It's null value, not a number value. Let's assign some values to the default values to that. How can we do that? Just specify the column name and assign some values. Here, say 15. Okay, and then frame 2. Let's see whether this 15 has been assigned. Yes, you can see the 15 has been assigned to all the rows. It replaces not a number value. Okay, so like this, you can just, when there is a incomplete data set, you want to fill the data set with some default values, then we can use this kind of Pandas functionality to fill the data set. Okay, to fill the data set or to pre-process it with some default value, we can use these functionalities. Okay, next we are going to see how we can how you can assign, instead of assigning the same value, how we can give a range of values here. Let's see that. Let's do this by using NumPy. So import NumPy as NP. So let's do the same thing using NumPy. So with that, we're going to assign NP dot. Remember, for the range function in NumPy, it is a range method. And I'm just going to assign some 6.0. If I try to display the table, you can see before 6.0, from 00 to 5.0, you can get all the values here. Okay, 5.0 to 6.0. Before 6.0, all the values will be assigned as a range of numbers. Okay. Next we'll see how to fill this. So first we have seen how to fill this with the default value, and then how to fill it with the range of values. Next, we are going to see how to fill a missing value with series of value by using the Pandas series attribute. How can we do that? So let's create a temporary variable and say value and pd dot series. Let's create a series for filling values. Minus value 2 minus 2.5, and then 5.0. Okay, these are some series values, and we're just creating an index. This index should match with this index. Okay, the index value should match with this. So here, let's say 2, 4, 5. Okay, so now we are assigning frame to depth value you can see for 2, 4, and 5, whatever value that is there in the series has been assigned, and the other values has taken the null values, not a number value. You can see the update here. Okay, so how to add a new column of Boolean values? Okay, so let's see how to apply the Boolean value. For example, now we are going to say wherever the Ohio state is there we are going to say the Boolean value, yes, that is true. And then for other states, we're going to say false. How to do that? Okay, we are going to create a new column. Okay, new column. We're going to create a new column. We don't need to use the columns attribute. We can simply create a new column like this in the frame 2. It's easy. And then we're going to say frame 2 with the state. We're going to do a comparison in the state column, but we're going to say the Ohio, wherever we have Ohio, there we are going to say true. Okay, let's try to print the result. You can see has been added. Okay. So I have just missed the 2 here. When it again, you can see frame 2. So I have just created a new column, and this column is going to have Boolean values. Wherever the state value is equal to Ohio, there and only will say true, or else it will say false. Okay, so this is how we can use the Boolean value, assign the Boolean value to the column. Okay, so next, so where we can simply assign it whenever you don't even need to specify the column attribute. Okay, so you can when a particular column doesn't exist, Pandas will automatically create the column. Okay, so how to delete a column? This is how there is no method that you need to use to create a column. You can simply assign and give a value. But to delete column, we have to use del function. And you can say frame 2, where I'm going to delete the newly created column. Okay, and then let's say frame 2. So now you can see from the frame 2, we have deleted the eastern column. Now we don't have the eastern column here. Okay, so next we're going to see another way to delete data from the data frame. So let's create a new variable and assign some values as a dictionary. Okay, dictionary variable Nevada with some values and Ohio with some values. We have created a new variable, dictionary variable. Let's create a new data frame with this new method. Key dictionary values. Let's see how it looks. You can see it's a very simple table. And we're going to, if you recall in NumPy, we have discussed the transpose, how to make a column to row and row to how to transfer the rows into column and column into row, right? So the same thing can be done in Pandas with T attribute, tab T. You can give T, then you can see the rows will become column and the columns will become rows. Okay, and let's do some more indexing related operations. Okay, in this newly created table, let's do some indexing related operations. Data frame, and let's take this pop column and index. Okay, we have created a new column with the changed order. We have changed the order 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have changed the column as well. From this 2001 to 2000, we have changed that to 2003. Okay, now let's do some indexing. We're creating a variable. And we're just going to specify the dictionary values. Okay, and let's see. Let's create another data frame. Okay. So we are going to change the index names. Here you don't have the index name, right, for 2000. So let's create an index name. Okay, we do that. Frame. Let's take this frame 3 variable and dot index dot name equal to here. And then frame 3 dot columns dot name equal to state. Let's try to print frame 3. You can see here, and then for the row column, it is already the name state. So here it is here, and then here state. Nevada here. Okay. So see few more attribute. Recall we have used the values attribute. Okay, when you create a values with the data frame, it will simply leave the index and will pick the data in the table. Okay. Okay, so that's what we have done. Maybe let's do a few more with the values. We have created a frame 2 variable, right? Frame 2 dot values. Okay. So those are the stuff that that I plan to cover in the introduction of creating. The second part of the section, we are going to see what are the different ways to construct a data frame. Okay. So we have already seen how to construct a data frame dictionary. Okay. So far, whatever we have done in this section, we have done it with this dictionary only. However, let me create it as a different section. So that is a way, when you do the markdown, you can use the HTML tags to create a HTML, because you know the Jupyter Notebook is web-based IDE, right? So you can use all the markup languages. Mostly the cells will understand the markup languages. Okay, when you give it the U tag will create the underline. Okay, so how to create a data frame from the dictionary. Okay, so already we have seen the example. Let's see one more example, because in this particular part, I'm going to give different ways to create data frame. Okay, you can see the product name, a title, or key, and then here product price. Okay, so this is the dictionary. Then you know how to create data frame. PD dot frame, and the value is going to pass data. Okay, if you run it, you can see it has been created as a dictionary. Okay, next we are going to see how to create indexes, how to create a dictionary with indexes. That too we have already seen, but let's recall that concept. How to create a data frame with indexes. Okay, with the dictionary, with the list of values as an index. So for that, you can simply specify df pd dot data frame, and then let's pass the data, and with index values A, B, C. Okay, so the next one, we're going to see how to create an index ID, product ID. Okay, one more addition. We're going to create a new variable called product ID, and how to assign it as a attribute. PD dot data frame, and you can simply, we have already seen this. Let's do it one more example. So you can simply call this label variable, and that will create a new index. Okay. Then list of dictionaries, how to create with the construct a data frame with the list of dictionaries. Okay, so dictionaries, but with list elements, dictionary as a list element. Okay, so let's create a new data variable where you can see each dictionary is a list element. Okay, so how it works. Again, the method is same. You're just going to pass it with the method. I'm just going to show you with different examples, but the method that we are going to call to create a data frame is same. You can see how this will create a key value as a separate column, and then an index, position-based indexing will be created. Okay, let's see one more example. This time, we're going to have the list of integers for the key values, same as the previous example, but here we have the inconsistency in terms of list of values, list element. Okay, so how it is going to react for this input, you can see that will add the last list element as a list itself. It will be added as a list itself. Okay, let's see when we create a new data without any value. So these data has a value, but this one doesn't have the product price. So in this case, how Pandas will create the table. Okay, you can see for the row which does not have product price, it just assigned nulls. Okay, not a number value. Okay, next we're going to see Pandas series. How to create a data frame from Pandas series. That is one-dimensional row. Okay, so let's create a variable called products, variable name, pandas series, right? So pandas dot series column. Let's create some list of values. So this is a series and another series prices. This is going to be another series, and we have to assign the price values here as an integer. Okay, we have just created two series. Now we are going to see how we are going to create a dictionary from this. Okay, and product name key, and we're going to say the products, that is the variable, and then product price. That is prices. df pd dot data frame data. You can see how it will create exactly the same thing that we have done with the dictionary. You can do the same thing with series. Okay, you're creating two series and passing it into the data, and then we are setting the data frame on that from that. So let's see a few more examples with the same thing. Maybe list. Let's create a data frame from list of list. Okay, let's create a data frame from list of list. So I'm just going to create a variable called data where it has list of list elements. Okay, again, the calling is saying passing this. Okay, that will create a table. And all the methods that we have used, indexes, we have already seen a lot of examples for this. For example, let's recall, we want to just retrieve the index values. How can you do that? If you want to change the 0, 1, 2, 3 to new indexes, how can you do that? Assign the values. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, we have ABC. But normally, how will we construct data in a professional environment? How will we construct the data frame in the professional environment? So in the productive professional environment, when you need to create a new data randomly, the better formal way is you have to give the data with the proper labeling, okay, so that it can be followed by anyone. So thumb rule, you have to create a data attribute to assign values, and it should have the good readability. Columns attribute, you can simply say the list for the columns. Okay, and then comma index. Okay, there are 2 columns and 3 rows. So the rows index values ABC. ABC for rows, columns, product name, and product price. Let's run it. Okay, positional argument follows a keyword. There was a typo error here in the columns. So after I change that, you can see. This is how in a professional environment you will create a data frame. Okay. So I think we have covered almost all the attribute. Maybe we missed this attribute. You might have seen this in the NumPy. the shape attribute. So if you try shape attribute, you can see it will give the number of rows and number of columns. Okay. So that's all about the data frame. Maybe in the next section, section 3, I'm going to cover a lot of functionalities, the mostly used functionalities in both series and data frame. We'll see that in detail in the next section. In this section, we have just covered all about data frame, how to create data frame, and how to create data from different variety of data, different variety of data types. Okay. So in the next section, we'll see the functionalities of Pandas, basic functionalities of Pandas data structures. Thank you.